Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm just going to answer a couple of questions from my viewers. One of them has to do with psychic attacks and how to protect yourself. And the other one was from somebody who was asking about when is it time to start sharing my wisdom. A lot of you guys have desires to express yourself, and it's not a very conducive environment to do so, with most people not really knowing any of this. And also maybe more of an issue is our own apprehensions anytime we like try to. So anyway, we'll be in touch. I'm gonna go for a walk here and we'll get to these questions. So one of the questions I noticed today was someone saying, Victor, when do you, so how do they put it? I think it was Jasmine something or other. When did you know enough to start sharing about your experience? I think she was implying that she wants to start talking about the awakening with anyone who will listen, is the way she put it, but she doesn't feel ready. Sometimes she does. Sometimes she feels pretty inspired, but then when it comes down to put the pen to the paper, she kind of freezes up. This used to happen to me all the time, actually. Let me adjust this real quick. As I've said in other videos, I've wanted to be on YouTube for almost from the beginning, because when I had my Kundalini awakening, and a couple years after that I kind of realized you're all going through this Ascension process, and it took me about a day to realize that no one else is aware of this stuff, you know, and it seemed to be such a new happening that I was unable to find really anything out there, except there were some rare souls talking about their experiences on YouTube. And I found that to be by far the most helpful thing to me. And I just connected with that, and I've always had this desire to help, so I really wanted to be on YouTube. And I would have these times where I would feel very connected, very like, oh my God, this is a great idea for a video. I gotta talk about this. And I'd be so like motivated and pumped up, like I was just connected to my highest self that wanted to express itself. But then when it would come down to it, like you said, and I'd go and I'd set up my little camera, I'd sit there in my chair, and then nothing. I would choke up completely. But now I am on YouTube, obviously, and it's not because that stopped happening. It's because life painted me I kind of painted myself into a corner where I had to do that. I had to get on YouTube. It was like I burned all my bridges. I won't get into the whole backstory, but I did. I cut myself off from my only income sources, and it was kind of like sink or swim. And those exact same apprehensions were there. I felt the same. I would choke up, and sometimes it would take me like 10 different tries to get one video that I felt comfortable uploading. So it wasn't about waiting for that to not happen before I would share. It was about doing it anyway. And in doing it anyway, I've just gotten a little bit better at being more consistent with tapping in and bringing forth, a clear enough of a message, unriddled with my egoic doubts. And I've just become better at that creative process. So if you ask that question, I would encourage you to get on the ball. Next time you say something, next time like you hit me up, I want to see some work. I want to show me a video you made or something. Because it's time. There's no need to wait. You don't have to know everything. I don't know everything, and I've been making YouTube videos. I have like over 300 videos. It's good to have people on all levels sharing about this stuff. There's a lot of times I've read all of Eckhart Tolle's books and Ascension's and many of Thich Nhat Hanh's books. And those are examples of people who have made it. They abide in the awakening state. But I tend to get more value and more benefit most of the time from people who are not as far along as they are, ironically. A huge part of my life I credit to this guy named Elliot Hulse. He's like a fitness guy, but he is like me. He's on a path. He had a mission. He had a YouTube channel, and he just sort of talked about his whole process of doing exactly what I'm doing, kind of overcoming his limitations, to become what he always called it, to become the strongest version of himself. And again, he was far from being like a guy on the mountain, but he was in between me and that mountain, that person on the mountain, and I got a lot of information from him. So don't think you have to be like perfect to start sharing. If you share, any of you, if you want to put yourself out there, if you just speak or write or do from your heart, that's all you need. The rest will take care of itself. We all have a creative force within us longing for expression. So anyway, that's my take on that. I'm going to get out of this blazing sun, and we'll talk in a few. So another person asked me about us being a psychic attack. They said, Victor, as I'm becoming spiritually stronger, or as we are all becoming spiritually stronger, it's only inevitable that there will be like lower dimensional, negative sorts of entities, beings, energies, etc. They're on the lookout for people like us who are rising up, and they want to see us brought down, and they're gonna find us and drain our energy. So how do I protect myself? A lot of people ask me questions like this who are actually having that experience of being psychically attacked. I've had it on a few occasions. One of them, I would say it was exactly like that, exactly a psychic attack. It was when I first started to wake up, and I was watching a YouTube video, and I just felt very afraid in listening to this video. And at the time I thought it was a bad person, like he was just a negative person, because of the fear energy that kind of welled up inside of me. Anyway, this fear energy kind of stuck around with me, and it kind of manifested and became more solidified, and I actually would have the experience of being followed around and haunted by negative entities, even in my waking state. It's not like I could see them as if you could see me in a real solid way, but I could perceive the shadows of them, and again, it evoked like that real panicky terror feeling, to where it was very real, had a real like malevolent, evil presence. So I eventually decided to take action to find a way to get myself cleared up of that, and I was able to. But the point, what I learned, is that whole experience was only a product of my own fear. It was not that I was randomly selected. It's that my fears manifested in that external way as a way of showing me fears I was harboring within myself. So I would say, don't look to be protected. Don't look to avoid confronting your inner demons. Secondly, I would say, you get what you focus on. A lot of people get really deep into the conspiracy theories, or whatever, maybe the actual theories, not saying I don't agree with or believe any of them, but if we tend to dwell and focus our attention in the darkness, that is what we will attract. So if you're always on the lookout, always trying to protect yourself, I would bet you have way more run-ins than people who don't even pay any attention to that. That's what I learned. Because again, I had several of those encounters when I was really absorbing myself in that sort of content. And while it was necessary and useful for me to not just completely live oblivious to what was actually going on, but there came a point where it was no longer necessary to continue bringing that kind of content into my consciousness. And there's a lot of it out there. There's way more out there now than there was when I was doing this. So I would do a couple of those things. I would maybe ask yourself, is it time to stop listening to people who are always talking about the negative stuff, if it's not having a positive effect on your life? And also, if you do, God forbid, have an experience like that, for one, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. Look to learn from it. Look to discover the fears within yourself that attracted that scenario into your life in the first place, and then it can be a major blessing. That's what I found. I found that, dude, if you could handle these psychic attacks and being picked on by negative entities, it really took the edge off of life, because that was some scary shit I went through. And having like really overcome that on my own and just came into my own power, it was very liberating and very empowering. So I look back now, and I wouldn't have chosen to avoid that. I rather would embrace it because it helped me indirectly. So anyway, guys, I'm going to bounce out of here and go probably climb up that mountain that I showed you the other day. And I will speak to you guys tomorrow. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all hanging in there, rolling with these new energies that seem to be pretty trying and challenging for a lot of different reasons. But anytime we're really struggling, it's always because there's a big transformation trying to unfold within ourselves and within our lives. And that's a positive thing, even though it's a bit uncomfortable. But things move pretty fast. I assume we'll all be concluding some of these themes by this upcoming full moon on the, I don't know the date, but it's coming up, I think, next Tuesday. So anyway, we'll chat then. All right, have an amazing day, guys. Thank you for everything, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.